The Oracle Network. Look deeper.
I was listening to the Edgar Allan Poe episode on my way here.
Oh.
And I just forget, like, how much Chad is just, like, not into ghosts.
Not anything.
Like, anything.
Not anything.
Like that. And I just, I'm
so
like,
crazy.
oh my god, okay.
Michael will at least kind of pretend to be interested in it. Chad's like, no. No, Michael usually is just like, no, I don't believe in that.
I think Eric is starting to feel that way with me just because, like, we'll be looking at homes. Like, you know, we're just, like, kind of playing around with the idea of buying a home someday. And we'll, like, look at this home and I'm like, oh, that's super cute. And I was like, nope, it was built in the 1920s. We're not fucking buying a house. It's full of fucking ghosts. Full of fucking ghosts. I'm not going to live in a house that I think
Hey guys.
Hey guys, welcome. I'm Abby.
And I'm Shauna.
And this is Anxious.
And Afraid.
We're a podcast.
So we talk
About conspiracies
and true crime and weird shit
and ghosts and stuff that makes you scared.
and afraid.
Yeah.
And we try and be funny about it. I always say that.
Sometimes we are, sometimes we're not. But it doesn't matter because today somebody else is going to do it for us.
Exactly. We don't have to work on it at all.
Because today we have a special guest.
We do.
And her name is Jerami. Jerami, say hi.
Hello.
We're
Hi,
so
Jer.
excited. Hi, Jer.
Hi.
Jer is a longtime friend, like all the way back through high school.
Yeah,
for
high
us.
school.
Theater together. We are theater nerds together.
Yep. And we all know Jerami because Michael knows her too.
Yeah.
Knew her probably before I did.
Chad's best friend. She's been in all of our weddings.
Yeah, she officiated my wedding.
Mm-hmm. And she was in my wedding.
Yeah. That's wow.
I know. I'm very tied to your lives.
It's
We
like
have a
we
lot of
think you're really
history.
special.
I've just connected myself in very convenient ways.
Very convenient. Almost too convenient.
Just to the point where you guys asked me to be a part of your weddings. I didn't even have to do it or
That's
like get
true.
myself in there.
She didn't even like hint at it. We just immediately were like, Jerami.
She's automatically in
Which,
it.
I mean, since marrying you two, I've done 2 other weddings. So
my
honestly, it's my side career.
Wow, we were her maiden voyage for marrying people.
It's true.
That's
It's
special.
true. It's true. And I do remember, meeting Michael. I don't think Michael remembers this, but I remember meeting Michael, I think, junior year of high school when Chad was over at your house for like some sort of birthday party. And it was like, all of the people were there. All of your friends that also went to Thurston.
You had so many friends.
And we, like a couple of other friends and I, we crashed the party.
Did you show up?
Whatever. You all were playing video games. You were all playing like Halo Party.
You showed up with Chad or you showed up with...
No, Chad was there. I showed up with Chelsea and like a couple other people.
Oh,
We crashed.
at our back door? The glass door?
I don't know if we did I have no idea. That's
I
all
remember-
where my memory is. That's my whole memory.
I feel like you've crashed a party at my house a couple times.
Yes, and then like another time when we tried to get you to go camping with us. Do you
Oh,
remember
yeah.
that story?
Vaguely.
With Corey. And
Oh,
like,
yeah.
And then you didn't end up going because Corey got out of the car.
Yeah.
naked.
Yeah.
Which is like, I'm reflecting on that now. I was reflecting on that like on my way here, and I was like, yeah, totally fair for Michael to be like, no, I'm not going.
He got
now. Like, how dare you
naked
do that in the neighborhood?
in a cul-de-sac.
Yes.
In broad daylight.
Yeah.
the car naked?
He like,
Sounds
yeah,
like
it was
high
like
school.
one of those instances, which, sorry, Corey, but I'm about to tell
Uh-huh.
this. But
Yeah.
like, he definitely like tucked in. So it's like, he was like
Yeah,
walking
yeah.
around.
But he had been kidnapped and wrapped in duct tape and was like sweaty and overheating, right?
That's
Was
true.
his-
We did do that.
So-
I forgot about that.
Like,
What's
I
wrong?
also...
It was like because it was right before he moved. It was right before he moved
Yeah.
to
Nebraska, yeah.
I almost said
Nebraska.
Minnesota.
that Corey, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you kidnapped him, you wrapped him in duct tape?
I feel like I was the driver. I wasn't like the person
Uh-huh.
that did that.
Yeah.
You were baby driver?
Which
I was definitely complicit.
absolved for
Yeah.
any
No,
implication.
no.
Yeah, okay.
You would still go down for that crime.
Absolutely, 100%. I don't think that the statute of limitations are done on that. So
Wow.
That's a story.
Coming in
Fun.
hot.
Fun
I've never
times.
even heard that one.
Yeah.
Either.
Anyways, but that's Michael and I weren't even friends yet. I just knew of Michael.
That's true.
Yeah, because
And
Michael
then-
went to a different high school.
And then Marcus and I worked together at the pump.
Right.
And that's how Michael and I became friends. Was like it was all this weird, cool, interconnected.
And Marcus
Yes.
is Michael's cousin.
Yes.
Right.
Who we lived with for a time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
all connected.
Because I also remember being at your house with Michael and Marcus, but I didn't know them very well. I was just the girlfriend, like, side person being quiet. And I'm like, these are friends.
Oh, nice to meet you. Which is like, what else are you supposed to do
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
at
I mean-
that time?
Totally.
I'm here
Teenage
too.
time.
I tried. I went out.
Proud of you.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I know Jeremy. It's just from high school, right? I don't think
I used to drive you home after theater.
Yep.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, she was my ride. She was the only reason I could do theater.
Thank God I had a license. Because,
Yeah.
like, my mom was always complaining about being like, I can't believe I have to
Wait,
drive
didn't you have
to
a
theater
horrible
practice."
memory together driving?
We had a
Me
cat.
too.
We had a cat.
Oh, okay. I remember this memory.
We hit a cat one time.
It's so sad.
And
so
like we
sad.
didn't turn around and go back for it, which I've done.
Oh.
It's like that is something I deeply regret. It's like there have been these instances, usually on that road, off of that road onto the highway, and it's just like, oh, I feel so.
That moment
Oh.
does
Terrible.
haunt me. It does haunt me.
It's terrible.
Haunts me all the time.
Yeah, because Abby, you turned around and were like, it's like a little jumping bee.
I was like, it's jumping around, and then
No.
we were all sad, and I don't think she like hit it badly enough to like.
I
kill
hope
it.
not.
You didn't
I
kill
hope
it?
not. I do remember like a friend of ours. We told some theater friends of ours about that, and then they like were like, "Hey, don't worry, you're good. There's a lot of strays there." And I'm like, still like, that's still
That
not.
doesn't
cool.
make me
I
feel
still
better.
don't want to like harm animals.
Yeah, that was a sad time.
I'm pretty sure I've been in a car before, like my sister hitting a dog, I think.
Oh,
And
God.
you just feel the bump,
Nope,
and
nope,
I'm just
nope.
like, I can never forget this
No.
feeling.
I cried when I hit a squirrel. So
Oh yeah, I hit a fucking bird once.
I had a bird. Oh,
Yeah.
well, the bird
That's
hit me.
traumatizing.
Technically,
Yes.
the bird hit me. Like,
Technically,
it flew right into my car.
yeah, I hit it right in the windshield. It was so loud.
Well, this has been a sad segment.
Welcome to
Okay.
dead animals.
Let's talk about things that have scarred us deeply.
Woo woo.
But
Okay.
yeah, so that I know Jeremy from high school, from
Yeah,
theater.
we have so many memories.
Tons. And
Good
she
stories.
is a teacher now.
I am a
It's
teacher.
like we're adults. It's weird.
It is. I was thinking about that, like on my way here. I was like, okay, I'm a teacher. Like, do like people I know in the community listen to this podcast?
Apparently, some of our high school friends do.
But yeah, I teach 8th grade, which is awesome. And people look at me sometimes and they're like, "Are you fucking insane?
You are
teach
insane.
middle
Grade
schoolers?"
middle schoolers.
But you know what? They're my people. They're so fun. I love them because like if you just show them love, they're like
Yeah.
they're yours. They're ready for it. They
Yeah.
want to engage. They want to be there. Which is sometimes I don't know if you know this, but sometimes middle school teachers don't necessarily show a lot of love. Probably because they're going a little bit insane.
Yes.
Yeah, I bet.
I think it's because they're probably jaded of all the years of children.
Hormones.
treating them like shit.
Hormone, and the thing is, and it's like so not personal at all, right? You have
Right.
these kids that are just like going off on you, but guess what? It's not about you.
Yeah.
It's about
Yeah.
whatever the hell they just have experienced all day long.
Right.
Which, like, and friendships are such a big thing in middle school. So
Oh,
it's like,
huge.
I have like kids come up to me when we were like in person, and they'd be like, "Hey, please don't set me with that person anymore because we're no longer friends." And I'm like devastated because they're like one of my favorite friendships.
Aww.
It's like
And
a
then-
reality TV
Yes,
show.
it is. In my brain, I'm always like my favorite friend groups. I always play the game of like, who would be my best friend
Right.
in this class?
Like Amber does not want to sit with Timothy
Yeah.
anymore, and it's a whole thing.
But then eventually you see the friendships mend, which is always nice. A nice story arc for my middle school classroom to see the friendships come back together.
Aw.
Now you're making me want to teach middle school.
It's
No,
fun.
Don't do it.
I
It's
would
fun.
make it. I think I'd get in trouble. I'd probably go off on a child. I wanted to as a middle schooler. I hated middle schoolers.
Yeah.
They're mean.
Yeah.
That's fair. They are mean because they're like, just think about all the things going on in your brain.
Right?
Just think about it.
So many emotions.
Oh
So
my
many-
god.
I mean, maybe that was from my hatred. I just had a lot of emotions in middle school.
I mean, you're constantly worried about like little things like your fucking clothes and your fucking hair and the makeup that you're trying to have on and the boys and
Ugh, seriously, the
All the
boys was
things.
like I look back to my 8th grade year, and I think about the people I had crushes on, and I think about like what I did, even in high school and stuff. I was like, you were a fucking creep. Like, you just would sit and like stare at a boy and be like, wow, he's so cute. Maybe he'll notice me. And it's like, no, he's not gonna fucking notice you. Like, I look at pictures of myself from middle school, and I'm just like, Mom, how could you let me get my hair cut like that? And she's just like, you were so cute. And I was like, that's a fucking lie. You know what? Look at this face. I was not cute.
Right? I wish my mom told me not to wear some outfits, because I'm like, how did you let me do this? I don't know.
Like, why these bangs? Why this glitter spray in my hair? Why?
The white eyeshadow.
So, right? Why? Or like these like oversized sweatshirts and baggy jeans I'd wear sometimes, and then I think my thing, like, I felt like, and this has been like a theme I think throughout my life, is like I was really into like funky stuff no one else had.
Yeah.
And then I'd wear it, and then like now my family just gets me funky shit that like is sometimes cool and sometimes is like not so cool.
Yeah.
Like, there are a couple phases behind.
Yes,
I totally have that too.
Yeah, and I get it, because it's
totally.
like, hey, you're like, I'm gonna get you things that I think that you're gonna like. And it's like, yeah, totally. But I just remember that, and now I'm like, why did I think those things were cool? Why did I think any of that shit was awesome? To have like these fuzzy shoes that were so impractical for just everyday life.
You know, you didn't have a job back then. It didn't matter.
It's true. I didn't have a job.
There wasn't much else to worry about.
Yeah. No, not at all. Except just like I feel like I just liked boys, and that's all I did during middle school.
Yeah, that's your job. But today we gave you a different job.
Thank you. I do have a job.
And that is?
I'm prepared for my job.
Yeah, you've had this ready for like a couple weeks now or more?
So I've had like the main story has been ready, I would say, yeah, at least a couple of weeks, and then I've been like tweaking it the last couple of days. I changed my mind about 100 times in the last 2 days about what I wanted to do.
Oh, I do that all the time.
And then I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? So I decided this story mostly because I wanted to do something that I felt like we could kind of have a good time with, even though it's kind of terrible.
Right.
Mostly because like when I get into true crime, I get into like the deep, dark, terrible shit.
Sure.
Totally.
So like I almost did, I didn't do it, but I almost did do you guys know who Ward Weaver is?
Ooh, I don't think so.
Okay, the guy, like, it was like in 2001, and 2 middle school girls go missing up in like Oregon City, Portland area, and like, well, I'll just do a little bit of it now.
Okay.
And then so these two, which is like, it really connected with me because I was that age, and I was also living up in like the Portland area at the time. And these 2 girls who were friends, like one of them goes missing. They can't find her. They have no idea. And then like 2 months later, one of her friends goes missing. And then they find out, they interview this guy, Ward Weaver, who's like Ward Weaver III, who just comes from a line of terrible fucking human beings who were probably very mentally ill, and no one ever fucking took care of it.
Right, of course.
And
is that at a bus stop they were abducted?
Yes.
Okay, I think I have heard of
like
this.
by an apartment complex, which is like, and it's also wild that like no one interviewed this guy because like he has like a past of like sexual misconduct and like assault.
Oh my God.
And then they even interviewed him, like the news network comes and interviews him, and he takes him outside, takes him back to like this patio area, this like new freshly laid cement and like all this shit, and then eventually he like tries to like harm I think like his son's girlfriend, and it like all comes out, and it's like under the cement is one of the girls' bodies.
Oh my God.
And then like in the back shed is the other girl's body, and it's just like, it was one of those I was just like, oh, it's too fucked.
Yeah.
I won't get into too many details. It's terrible.
It is.
But that was one that like I think really resonated with me, like growing up and is in that area and having them be my same age.
Totally.
Do you think that's like what kind of awakened you to true crime?
I feel like I really didn't get in, like it was kind of always around and I was interested in it, but I didn't really get into it, I feel like, until like my 20s, when I was like, oh no, it's cool to like, it's okay to like this shit and like be interested in it and like have conversations that are like, yeah, this is terrible as fuck, but let's talk about it.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. And then like when I started listening to a ton of, I feel like I went on a big road trip a couple of years ago, and that's where I found like My Favorite Murder. I started listening to Last Podcast on the Left,
love them.
and you know, just all of these different podcasts, and I was like, oh, this is the shit. And then when I was commuting a lot from Roseburg up to here to Springfield, I was listening to it all the time, to a point where I had to stop because my anxiety was like so high. I was listening to it every day, like
get to you,
every morning at 5 a.m., like driving in the dark.
In the dark.
No,
and like I wasn't even listening to podcasts then. I was listening to, like, I was starting to listen to I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara.
Right.
I was listening to Billy Jensen's book, like all of these different books, and then I was listening to Small Town Dicks, which I think really fucked me up. It really did me in. Have you listened to Small Town?
Oh, yes,
my
of course.
God.
Dave follows us on social media.
Yeah, we had like one comment exchange.
It was like a big deal.
I got to the Thurston High School episode and I had to stop.
It's rough.
It was too much. Anyways, and then that led me. I know I'm totally not starting my story yet.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
And that like increased because I have this fun story I want to share. My anxiety so much, and like having to have this conversation with my partner about like, listen, like I am terrified of like someone like being in the house, sitting on the outside. Like I just feel like that happens to women all the time. Like, you know, women are, you know, a large percent of the time are the victims because it's just fucking terrible because it's men, because it's mostly men who are doing like terrible shit all the time. And sorry, Michael, it's just facts. And,
He's into it. He knows my man rage.
and like one night I am laying in bed and I can hear like the door unlock and open, and like I shout out, I'm like, hey baby, like how are you? Because he was getting back from like a late night D&D game.
Okay, so you were alone.
And I was alone, like in the bed watching TV. We have cats. You know, at this time we didn't have our dog yet, and I don't hear anything. And then I hear like some more like rustling and like nothing.
No.
So I'm like, oh, fuck. I have got to get out there and see if the door is locked. If the door is locked, that means nobody has entered into my house, and like I'm good to go. So I get out. And just for comedic purposes, like, I did not have a shirt on. I just had pants. Because, like, it's 9 o'clock at night. I'm just, like, chilling in bed. And, like, I don't have any, like, weapons or anything. So I have 2 remotes. I have my Roku remote and, like, my TV remote in one hand. And, like, I'm going out so quietly. And I'm just, like, my heart is pounding. I'm like, okay. I'm, like, trying to look at the door and focus on the door. Because we just have, like, this hallway that leads straight from our bedroom to the front door.
Creepy hallway.
And I'm like, okay. And, like, I look and I see the cats. And the cats are kind of acting a little bit weird. They're over by the side of the couch. But, like, I'm like, okay, cats, what the fuck's up? And as I get close to see it, my partner pops up from behind the couch.
That's not
and
okay.
goes, rah, and screams. And I just literally, I scream and I just instantly cry.
No, that's not funny.
Instant. And he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, you don't know. I was like, you don't. Oh, it's my biggest fear. I was like, this happens to women all the time. You don't even know.
Oh my God.
And so it was around that time that I had to really stop.
Oh my God, that's a huge sign. But that's not okay. That's not a fun thing.
And like he knows that. I was like, if you ever do that again, like I'm gonna break up with you.
Cats are terrible witnesses too.
No, they were just like standing over the side, and apparently he's like, you didn't see my face like through the crack in the couch, and I was like, no, I didn't fucking see your face. I wasn't focused on that. I was looking at the door. I needed to make sure that like I was okay. It was terrible. Oh, it was so funny.
Peed.
Oh, it was the scariest moment. Like, thank God that's the scariest moment in my life, right? Like, that's like, it was a joke.
Right. Good.
And not something that like actually happened to me, but that was terrifying. And so, he has not done it again. Good. He knows. He has scared me, yes, as people do, just jumping out. But that was
different level.
The worst. Okay. I can get to my story.
Okay.
Lovely.
I am going to talk to you about the Batman in Los Angeles.
The Batman of Los Angeles?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think I know this.
I don't think I know either.
I listened to a couple of different podcasts. The Dollop does it. Have you guys listened to the Dollop?
I've listened to like a couple episodes.
They did this one with Karen and Georgia.
Oh,
nice.
They're all like really tight friends. And then I've read like several different articles that I can talk about later. But so here we go.
Yeah.
Yay.
Let's do it.
On August 22nd, 1922, Beverly Hills police were called to apron factory owner Fred Osterrich's Los Angeles mansion by neighbors after a series of gunshots and a woman's scream cut through the night. Their officers found Fred lying on the floor of his living room, dead from 3 shots to the chest of a .25 caliber automatic. The autopsy showed that the gun was fired at very close range.
Okay. Did you say he owns an apron factory?
Apron factory.
And he lives in a mansion.
Mansion.
It's a lot of aprons.
It is. Yes, it is. And I'll be clear that I think this is taking place. This is taking place in Milwaukee, which I didn't. When I think about aprons, I never thought about there being a factory for them.
Me neither.
True.
But I guess in the 1920s, you could just own factories that just made everyday items
and employ children to make them for you.
Exactly. Cheap labor.
Labor.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Mansions from aprons. I'm loving this already.
Great. Okay. The police found his wife, Walburga.
Whoa.
AKA Dolly. That's how we'll refer to her. Walburga.
I would go by Dolly.
Yes, exactly. Osteric, which I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's definitely German. It could be anything.
Okay.
They found her locked in a walk-in closet, screaming with the key on the ground in another room.
Okay.
She told investigators that she was hanging clothes in the closet when she heard a fight downstairs. As she turned to investigate, the closet door was slammed shut and locked. She could not provide any description of the killer or killers.
Interesting.
We have some snippets in here from the LAPD chief of police who wrote his memoirs about this case. It says, the expensively furnished room showed evidence of a fierce struggle. An open French window with the screen unlatched suggested that the murderer had left the house hurriedly. Hurriedly. I do love the language from the 1920s. Sometimes
Right.
I'm like, what are they saying?
I love reading old newspapers.
Hilarious.
Oh,
So
best.
good. Further investigation revealed that while the house was disturbed, nothing was missing except Fred's diamond-studded watch. Police were also confused about why a burglar would carry such a small firearm. A gun more likely to be found in a lady's purse. One newspaper account said.
Small for a woman's hand.
Dainty, light, easily moved.
Feather like
Fragile.
trigger.
For your tiny fingers. It says equally curious were the accounts of neighbors that were heard the Osterics involved in a heated argument when the couple returned from an evening out.
Okay.
Rigorous interrogation of the newly widowed woman yielded no leads. She acknowledged that she and Fred fought frequently and loudly, but denied she had anything to do with his murder. Over the next few weeks, police ran down their few leads, concentrating on discovering any secrets in Dolly's background. There were none.
Okay, she clean.
She good. So far.
So far.
No one knew the couple or was friendly with either Fred or Dolly, could shed any light on the possibility of a love triangle turned deadly. They had a reputation for bickering in public, but were never violent when others were around. With no weapon, their main person of interest, with a pretty solid alibi, and no sign of a lover, police let the case percolate, hoping for something helpful would brew up.
Okay.
All right, here's a little background on Walburga.
Walburga.
Walburga. Maybe it's Walburga, if it's German.
Ooh.
Oh,
Could
maybe.
be.
I was like,
Walburga?
is that a burger chain now?
Wait, what is
Yeah, that's what it is.
Is it Wahlburger?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Because I was thinking of Mark Wahlberg and I'm like, Wahlburgers, yeah, it all sounds the same. And I'm just kind of having these thoughts while you're still talking.
Yeah.
Well, it's her name is with the accent, Wahlburger.
Wahlburger.
Yeah, totally.
Wahlburger.
Wahlburger, yeah.
I'm glad we were all on the same page.
She's not.
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
Poor Dolly.
Oh, Dolly.
Oh,
Poor
Dolly.
Dolly. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Born in 1880, Walburga, Dolly Korschel was a German immigrant who grew up on a poor Midwestern farm.
Okay.
In her early 20s, she married Fred Osteric, the wealthy owner of a successful apron factory. The couple settled in Milwaukee, but marital bliss was elusive. Fred drank too much, and Dolly was sexually unsatisfied.
Ooh,
Oh,
unfulfilled.
come on.
It says, one autumn day in 1913, Dolly asked Fred to send one of the factory's repairmen to the house to fix her sewing machine.
Or her pipes.
When 17-year-old Otto Sonnhuber knocked on the Osterics' ornate double-entry door, Dolly, then 35, fucking 3,
Oh.
answered wearing stockings,
Oh.
a silk robe,
Oh.
heavy perfume,
Oh.
and nothing else.
Oh, boy.
Scandalous.
It was more than likely that Dolly knew her husband was going to send the teenager who worked as one of his repairmen.
Ew, Dolly.
Yes, and I know this ties into our conversation we were having earlier about women doing some creepy shit.
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay. One, which I had to like go through and edit this a little bit because they were like, "Oh, it's this sexual times and
Right.
enlightening." I'm like, let's talk about that. He's a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still gross.
One reporter at the time described Otto as having stood just a smidgen under 5 feet, had a receding chin, buggy eyes, and suffered from a severe case of acne.
Hot.
Oh.
Yep.
And more often than not, his nose dripped.
Why? Carry a handkerchief, boy.
Delicious.
That's the description.
And then the police chief described him as a rather small man in horn-rimmed glasses.
Boy. Correction. Boy.
Yeah, he's not a small man. He's definitely a boy. He's a teenager. He's a teenage boy that probably didn't... I don't know a lot about Otto, but probably didn't go to school if he's working at a fucking factory.
Right.
So yeah, not great. Oh yes. Dolly was attracted to the naive 17-year-old, more than likely because she had control and power in the relationship, and then I added, was a super creep.
Yeah, and was gross.
Yeah. In the early days of their affair, Dolly and Sandhuber met in hotels. Soon they decided to throw caution to the wind and take comfort in her own bed. But let's be very clear, she was a super creep and made all of the decisions, right? She had all power. He became a regular sight around the Obscura property, fixing Dolly's frequently broken sewing machine.
Throwing it out the window.
Yes,
old
exactly.
and
She's just like taking a hammer to it.
Oh, it's in the yard somehow. I need it fixed
I don't
again.
know, it's broken. Thanks.
I need to sew
Thank
my
you.
negligees.
My stocking.
How am I going to sew this little tiny panties together?
Gross.
Oh, Shauna hates that word.
It's not a good word.
Oh, panties?
She doesn't like panties.
We don't need to keep repeating.
Fine. He doesn't show up in here. It's too bad.
Undergarment.
Underwear.
So much better.
What do they call? What do they say? Was it knickers?
Ah, there you go.
Knickers.
Say knickers.
Ooh, that doesn't sound
No,
good.
that
That sounds terrible. Thank you. Bad. Okay, my apologies.
We're talking through a mask.
Woo! Yes, yeah, not great. Okay.
Oh no.
Edit point.
And he was performing other chores around the place for Fred. So Fred like trusted this dude. Fred was like, "Oh, he's just this kid. He's
like the scrawny,
fixing stuff.
Scrawny
No
little
stripper.
pimple
Who's
face.
yeah,
Like, why would he suspect him?
exactly."
Exactly.
It says the neighbors grew suspicious of the frequent visits paid by a man Dolly referred to as her vagabond half brother, because people knew. I think people knew like what was up. They knew that they were like having a sexual relationship or whatever. But like this is the 1920s and no one's gonna fucking talk about it.
Right,
Oh
right,
yeah.
right.
They're gonna look the other way and be silent.
So now
Exactly.
she's telling other people he's her brother.
Half brother, yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
The police chief writes, Otto had been popular with Mr. Osteric too until he took a trip to St. Louis with Dolly. After that, Osteric ordered Otto to stay away from both his, I love this phrase, both his door and his Dolly. I'm like, his door?
And his Dolly.
Don't come near my door. As far as Fred was concerned, when Otto vanished after the confrontation, the matter was closed. He and Dolly resumed their gloomy relationship, moving several times throughout their time in Milwaukee.
Okay.
Dolly had a solution to their problem. Sandhuber would quit his job and move into the Osteric's attic. Fred never went up there, and the lovers could continue their tryst, her grooming and assault, safely out of sight from prying eyes. I added that part.
Grooming and
Assault. Let's be clear.
These are the words.
Still creepy.
It's still creepy. It says the only caveat was that young Sandhuber would have to abandon all human interaction, save for the time he spent each day with Mrs. Osteric. Sandhuber didn't mind. He had no family to speak of, and the LA Times reported in 1930 he had grew to love Dolly as a boy loves his mother.
Ew.
That's no.
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 Yeah.
That's gross.
It's terrible.
It's taken
Disgusting.
even more disgusting turn
Yes.
somehow.
Yes.
Oh man.
Oh god. He fit in very well currently in COVID, I think he'd do well with
I think,
in an attic?
absolutely. Just hanging out in an attic. And, like, we find out that, you know, he gets to enjoy his hobbies, right? That's what he gets to discover. Right. It says the attic, furnished with only a cot and a desk, became a blank canvas upon which the teenager projected his inner dream world.
Okay.
At night, he devoured the piles of nautical adventure books that Dolly brought him each week from the library. Like the marooned castaways in his favorite novels, Sandhuber staved off madness by occupying his thoughts with a singular goal. His dream turned obsession was to write for the pulps.
What?
He wanted to be like a writer. Like pulps are like I would say that like those little 10-cent novels. Like he wanted to be able to write like adventure books. He wanted to be able to write various different adventure books.
Wants to be a writer.
Wants to be a writer.
All right. He's
And
a
how
dreamer.
easy to do that in an attic.
So easy.
So easy.
Away from everyone else. You have a lot of time.
Yes.
It says, the Los Angeles Times reported at night he read mysteries by candlelight and wrote stories of adventure and lust.
How fucking romantic.
By day, he made love to Dolly Osteric, helped her keep house, and made bathtub gin.
Lovely.
Wait, what? What time period is this again?
1920s.
Okay.
We're looking at, so they meet, I believe they first meet in 1913. So, 1913.
Real old stuff.
Yeah, so this is going on for a while.
So he kind of, like, he thinks this is, like, his best life because he's just, like, sleeping with this cougar and writing and doing these things.
And, like, doing these things where she's, like, I guess if he's spending, like, all day in the house with her...
She, like, totally, like, takes care of food.
Obviously, like, he did not have an understanding. Okay, I'm curious. I don't know his background a lot.
I wonder if
like,
he missed
now
his
I'm
family.
like, does he have... Yeah, it's like, I don't know if he had a family. I don't think he did.
Yeah, because that would make it easier.
Like, maybe that's where he was, like, looking for that mother figure. And he found
and
it in
warped.
Dolly.
Yeah.
And it was,
Well, he was working for a factory, so I probably, comparatively, it's probably pretty nice to just hang out all day and be taken care of.
I wonder where they thought he went. Like, or maybe they just didn't give a shit. They were like,
Probably didn't.
He's like, I'm quitting. Or I guess, Fred fired him because he went to that trip with Dolly, but like,
okay.
He moves
Fred.
into the attic. That is wild.
But then he's, like, never seen again because he can't go outside, right?
Yeah, he can't go outside.
So nobody just was suspicious over that?
Well, that's why he must not have any family.
Exactly.
Or at least not one that cares.
Or,
Exactly.
like, none of the factory workers cared.
He had no friends.
No unions
He
back
was a
then, I don't
solo.
think.
No, there definitely was not.
No, this is like this is a start of that where
Yeah.
like we start to see strikes and unions forming and things like that. But
No one's keeping
That's
track
why they're
of this
good
guy.
things, people. Good things.
yes, they help employees.
That's my 2 cents.
Hot take from Shauna.
All right. It says, by 1918, Sandhuber had been living in the Osteric's attic for 5 years.
Whoa!
5!
Gross, that's insane.
Yep, undetected, having regular sex with Dolly, and even publishing some of his stories under a pen name.
Wow.
Right?
That's insane. 5 years. Is he just the whitest boy you've ever seen? He's
Oh,
not seen
no
the
son?
Yeah, how depressing.
Or maybe
What
he
is
can
he-
sit by a window.
Maybe when he's making his bathtub gin, there's a little window in the bathroom, and he can
Sings to it.
get some of it. Oh my gosh. Meanwhile, Fred began questioning his sanity. He heard inexplicable noises coming from the attic. His cigars kept going missing, and he could swear that strange shadows passed outside his bedroom door some nights.
Ooh, it's creepy.
Yeah, I'd be done. I'd be like, we're fucking out of here.
Right.
Which is what Fred decides to do. He decided to move to Los Angeles that year, not knowing that the phantom haunting his Milwaukee mansion would follow him out west.
As I was saying, he definitely probably thinks ghosts right now.
Is he just like on the
Seriously.
undercarriage of the moving van?
Okay, so there's like, I like talk about it where like there's a little bit of description. We're not sure. I've read different accounts of like him going first to the house, like Otto going first to the
I've
house.
heard that because I think I've heard this one.
And then I've heard that like he comes later. Like,
Interesting.
it's weird. Like different articles had different descriptions of it, but it says
Either way, he gets there.
he's there.
Okay.
He's in the attic. It says Dolly agreed to move on the condition that the new house have an attic.
That's
is-
my one requirement.
Oh man, that you can't. That's shady, right? If anyone ever tells you, like,
I just want to store my things. I just want to...
I have so many undergarments.
I need an attic.
Thank you.
It says there are different accounts about whether she sent Sandhuber ahead, and by the time the Osterics arrived, she was already settled, or that he came after.
Okay.
In Los Angeles, the Osterics' marriage began to deteriorate. No fucking shit.
Began to?
It was already. It was already like...
Yeah.
Fred drank even more than he did in Milwaukee, and arguments between the couple became violent.
Oof.
On August 22nd, 1922, where we started, 9 years after the affair started.
Wow.
9. This
Jesus.
man
Almost
has
a
been
decade.
living. He is now 26 years old.
Wow.
And then, oh my god, I can't believe this. That's so long.
That's so insane.
That's
It's too
I just can't imagine that's like how you live your life for 9 years, like in an attic.
like you think that's normal.
Yeah, and like probably because he just went along with like what she said and like didn't have some sort of like adult figure in his life, and so he just latched on and was like, yeah, it totally makes sense, like let's go, you're right, like
she's his only contact too, like maybe it's some kind of like a what's not quite not like a kidnapper's relationship. I don't know, it's interesting.
Yeah, how do you pinpoint
it's like
that?
not Stockholm syndrome,
Right, I was
but
like, maybe,
also Stockholm syndrome, but like not like
it's
I
interesting.
don't know. Yeah.
Definitely manipulation going on.
Oh, absolutely. Wow, for 9 years. It says, so on August 22nd, a particularly brutal fight broke out, and Sandhuber, fearing for Dolly's life, ran downstairs brandishing Fred's 2 .25 caliber rifles. He fired 3 rounds straight into his chest, killing him instantly. The lovers decided to rig the scene to make it look like a home invasion. Sandhuber took Fred's diamond watch and locked Dolly in the closet. Once Sandhuber had safely snuck back up to the attic, Dolly began screaming until one of the neighbors called the cops.
Okay.
The police had no reason to doubt Dolly's story. After all, she couldn't have locked herself in the closet. So the merry widow inherited her husband's millions and bought herself a new house with a spacious attic.
Oh, what?
Wait, he still gets the attic. Or the attic. Wow.
Yes.
That's his happy ever after.
When is he gonna catch on? Wait.
No.
He's gone, but I still have to sleep in the attic.
Just wait.
Continue.
Okay.
After the murder, Otto actually fled California, and Dolly found 2 new lovers.
Oh, girl.
Including her husband's estate attorney, Harold Shapiro. However, still obsessed with her, Otto returned to Dolly and to a hidden existence. Back to the attic.
Back in the attic, but he's a secret attic dweller now.
Yes.
Wait, so she doesn't know that he's back in the attic?
Oh, no, I think she knows.
Oh.
I think Shapiro doesn't know that he's there.
Okay.
So they have to like this little game of like secret.
Yeah, like this secret hidden, but it's like also he fled, but then came back. So it's like this is all I've known for 10 years.
Yeah.
I guess
Might as well.
I
keep
want to
doing
do it.
Yeah. What else do I do?
I don't know.
And then maybe their relationship is only fun if there's like a risk factor involved.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Sounds real
Definitely.
toxic.
Yeah, it's terrible. Don't recommend.
Don't recommend.
Don't recommend. Like Dolly's first husband, Shapiro spent long hours away due to his profession. Then comes in Roy Klum.
Clum. Fun.
Another lover to keep Dolly occupied, though her use of Klum might have been to help her get rid of the guns used to shoot Fred.
Ooh.
Dolly persuaded him to ditch a gun for her, saying it resembled the burglar's gun, and she didn't want to get in trouble. I just feel like that's some shit you could get away with in the 20s. Be like, this just reminds me so much.
I know. I'm almost gonna faint, but if you could just.
I'm
please
so
remove
weak.
it.
I'm just so brokenhearted.
Also, can't you just get rid of the gun on your own? Why do you need this guy to do it? Dolly?
I don't know.
You got
I have
hands?
no fucking idea.
You got feet?
I don't
Walk
know.
somewhere.
She's
crazy.
No, she couldn't. She just couldn't do it. She only wore stockings. Fucking negligees.
You just can't go out like that.
Nope, she couldn't. Clum didn't care for the way Dolly asked him to get rid of the gun, but he went ahead and tossed it in La Brea tar pits anyway.
He didn't like the way she asked him?
No, he was like, oh, I don't want to do that,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna do it.
Wait, he tossed it in a tar pit?
Yeah, the La Brea tar pits, which are like pretty famous down in LA.
Yummy.
I think
that seems like a great place to get rid of shit.
I would say so. I don't know. I don't know what they're. I've never been there. I just have heard about them, so I don't know if like the tar just absorbs.
Yeah,
I know.
like
I just imagine gloopy
hot, gloopy tar.
Yeah.
You just drop shit in and it just melts. I don't know.
Ew, imagine like getting like stuck in it and then you die.
No, I don't want to.
No. She also sweet talked a neighbor into burying the other gun in his yard. Yeah.
Okay.
Hurt the neighbor?
Yes. It says this may seem sloppy on Dolly's part. Remember, she was asked a guy to quit life and live in her attic.
Oh,
And
wow.
he said yes. So I think it's just important to know
She's
that.
charming.
She must be. She must have some sort of like charisma that she can just like ask people to do these things for her,
I mean,
and
if
they're
you're
like,
only
yeah.
never stalking, so that's probably a good opener.
Yeah.
But seriously, like, doesn't she realize the neighbor is going to be one of the first people the cops talk to?
Listen, I feel like people. Okay, I feel like after I've listened to a lot of true crime, I'm sure as you have all listened to, that like you're like, wow, I could definitely fucking get away with some shit here. Like I've learned from these.
Right.
I've learned from it. I know I could. I would never do it because like I know. But like I don't think that she had that. You know, she
That's
didn't
true.
have that knowledge. That
Especially
we
in
might
the
have.
20s, yeah, that's true.
Of being like, don't ask people to get rid of shit for you. They're gonna turn you in.
Man.
In 1923, when Dolly eventually broke up with Clum a while later, he went to the police with the story.
Mm-hmm.
The gun was pulled from the tar pits, and Dolly was taken into custody.
Okay, so it didn't dissolve in the tar pits. We know that. Okay.
Her neighbor dug up the other gun and took it to the cops, but neither weapon could be tied to Dolly because the guns had corroded.
Oh, okay. All right. So
Yep.
tar pits did a little.
Which is like wild that like they couldn't be tied to her because they were corroded. So obviously they were all gross and weird.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like I feel like if her neighbor is like, no, she gave me this gun.
Don't they know it's the same type of gun? I
Yeah,
guess
like
I
a
don't know how
25
much
caliber. I have
about
no idea.
forensics or guns, but I don't know. It seems kind of obvious to me.
Yeah, like you would know. You would know that's what her husband was shot with.
Right.
You wouldn't be able to tell. Maybe they were just so terrible.
They just could
gross.
never suspect a gorgeous woman to kill her husband.
She was just no.
Technically, she didn't. Someone else did.
It's true.
That's
It's true.
That's true.
Says with Dolly awaiting trial in jail, she pleaded with Shapiro, who was living with her other lover.
Shapiro is such a lawyer name.
It
Yes.
is. I feel like there's so many.
Yes. To buy groceries for Sanhuber and to tap on the ceiling of the bedroom closet to let him know
Okay.
he should come out. She also. So she told him, okay, get him some groceries, tap here, and let him know he should come out.
Like
That's
her
so
little like
weird.
attic golem, like
Except you
don't
can't
talk
yell.
to him.
They literally refer to one of the articles as like an attic sex golem. Like,
Oh,
That's sad.
it's terrible.
That's so
Ew.
sad, and also so weird that he accepts this live. I'm so confused.
She tried to tell Shapiro that the attic-bound Sanhuber was her vagabond brother. But starved for conversation with another male, Sanhuber spilled the truth to Shapiro
no!
about the nature of his and Dolly's relationship.
To
Okay.
her other lover.
What happened when you don't fucking talk to another person for fucking like 10 years.
Right.
Yeah, he was. Oh my god, the things that probably spilled out of him.
I can't even imagine.
Shapiro essentially told Sanhuber to get lost and got Dolly released on bail. Apparently, the fact that she'd kept a man in the attic was not a deal breaker,
What?
as the lawyer promptly moved in with her.
What? Into the attic? She's like, hey, but we only the attic.
That's like a requirement.
And then all charges against Dolly were dropped because they couldn't match the guns to the crime.
This story's
Crazy.
wild.
It's nuts. Sanhuber remained at large for 8 years. So after Shapiro kicked him out, he was out there for 8 years. He eventually moved to Canada, changing his name to Walter Klein and marrying another woman before returning to Los Angeles.
Okay, so he finds another love.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I wonder. I don't have any information about that, but I'm curious,
Right? Because he's
as to that,
Yeah.
and what that looks like.
Is she an older woman?
Yeah.
That would be interesting. So, did you say Shapiro? He told Shapiro that he murdered the husband, or
I think, yeah, or he. I don't know if he told him that he murdered the husband, but he did. Yes, I would say he probably talked about murdering the husband, and then he also just talked about like their relationship in general.
Okay, and he didn't turn him in; he just let him go.
He just let him fucking go,
Wow,
and then moved
lawyer.
into the house.
Oh my god.
Which, like, maybe he was after the money. You know, she had all those
she does
millions
have a
from
lot of
Fred
that.
being dead.
True that.
So
Money and sex.
I don't know.
Murder.
Money, sex, and murder.
Got all of them.
All right. It says, but in 1930, 7 years later, after a large fight between Dolly and Shapiro, so this is 7 years. So they were like together for about 10 years. And now it's 7 years later. Dolly and Shapiro have a huge fight. He moved out and told the police what he'd gathered of the crime against Fred Astaire.
Always happens, man.
Yes. Warrants were again issued for Dolly, and this time Sandhuber as well. A jury found Sandhuber guilty of manslaughter, even after his defense stated that Dolly had enslaved him. Accurate.
Yeah.
But the statute of limitations for manslaughter had expired.
Oh, my
so
God.
everyone involved was off the
No.
fucking...
Why is that even a thing
I don't understand.
with any crime?
Well, I feel like now manslaughter and murder, I don't know what the statute of limitations are now, but I mean, for murder, I know it's none.
Yeah,
I know,
I
I think
think
it's
there is
like
one
forever.
anymore.
Like,
Yeah,
oh, you killed
true.
someone, we find you, like, guess what?
Yeah.
You're
in
going to jail.
trouble.
I
think they're trying to like crack down on like sex crimes or like
because like there's like a 12-year statute.
it's
or something
terrible.
like that.
There shouldn't be one. It
shouldn't
just,
be one.
No,
Traumatic.
Terrible.
it's
Awful.
Because just I could go on. I shouldn't. Okay, continue.
the criminal justice system needs to be fucking revamped. Everyone,
Just a little bit.
fix it.
Fix that.
Please fix it. And then so in our conclusion, the paper's called Sandhuber the Batman of Los Angeles because he lived in the attic.
I was hoping
I
for
get
a
it.
cooler version.
I know. And then Dolly lived the rest of her life a free woman, enjoying her late husband's wealth.
And
What?
many men.
And many men.
She had
That's crazy.
an insane sexual appetite.
Nuts! Like, or, yeah, she just, like, I guess needed it, like, all the time, which is
3 dudes?
fine. But, like, find someone that also, like, wants that in a consensual way.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to live in your attic. Wow,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard that one before.
Really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
It was
It's a wild story.
Again, it's a wild story, and I thought it was one that, like, we could have. It's dark, but it's, like, you know, almost 100 years old.
Yeah.
So, like, we could,
Oh yeah,
We can really,
we
have
could work
some
with
fun
that.
with it.
Have some fun with that.
for sure.
Crazy fucking story.
Thank you for doing all the
Oh my gosh,
research and
yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I can tell you're a good writer,
I
too.
love doing it. Well, yes. Thankful for the articles to, like, really help me out.
Were you like researching like the old articles or?
So some of them, like the LA Times, like re-released the article from the 1930s, like back in 1995. So I like found like in their archives. But a lot of them were just like different articles. You know, like there was a cracked article. Like there's the podcast Wikipedia, different things like that I just kind of pulled from for each of them.
I've been really nerding out on. I got a subscription to like an old archive newspaper site or whatever. Yeah, I've spent a lot of hours just reading tiny little newspaper print from like the 20s or whatever.
So cool.
It's great.
That'd be fun.
I would love it. My favorite time. I was listening to, oh my gosh, was your most recent episode? And Shauna, you didn't know who Wyatt Earp was?
Oh yeah, Wyatt Earp.
And I was like, shocked. Because I love, like, I also, when we first talked about this, I was like, I want to do something about the Old West. But, like, it was going to be more of, like, a history up. And I was like, oh, like, yeah, there were a ton of crimes and a ton of murder and a ton of shit like that happening.
Absolutely.
I
But
know
I
my mom
love
would have loved it. She
The
really
Old
wants
West
me to
is
do one.
so fucking cool. It's
Yeah.
so wild. I mean, terrible time for women. But,
It's truly.
terrible time.
Yeah,
but-
Wyatt Earp.
Yeah.
I
Wyatt
thought
Earp.
everyone knew who that was.
Wyatt Earp, like
Nope.
Calamity Jane,
What?
Billy the Kid,
Yeah.
Wild Bill Hickok.
I've heard of Billy the Kid.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Wild Bill Hickok, Calamity Jane were all like, because we went to Deadwood a couple of years ago on a big road trip. And it was so cool. Like, it's like very touristy now, but they have like all the old cemeteries where like everyone's buried. And,
That's crazy.
oh, that shit's so cool.
I love that.
So cool. 1870s. Would love to know more info about that. Or like what really happened.
I mean, if you want to come back and do another episode, we would love to have you. And
Totally welcome.
I love history up, so I wouldn't complain.
I wouldn't complain either.
I'll do it. I'll teach you, Shauna, about the
I
Wild
need to be
West.
educated because clearly I'm not.
I wouldn't care either.
I like history too.
Well, do you have anything else to talk about?
Do we want to mention a little gift for our
Oh, yeah.
guest?
Obviously, we always get our gift.
Oh
Our
my God.
guest gift card. I don't have a physical.
So we're doing invisible gift cards now.
Thank you.
Here, I'm handing it to
Whoa,
you. Actually, I'm
it's
gonna blow
so
it.
heavy.
There it
Wow. You blew it to me. I'm like, wow. The weight.
It's a magical gift card for Starbucks to magically caffeinate
Stop
you.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Just
much.
to give you a little something, something.
I
Because
do
it's a lot of
appreciate
work.
it.
We appreciate it.
Of course. Anytime. I love doing this. I love doing research.
So fun.
So
I love doing research.
it's just, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like my mind gets super focused and then I'm like, oh yes, this topic.
Yep.
Let me find out as much information as I can.
My problem is researching and writing nothing down because I'm like too into it, and then I'm like, I'll remember. I don't remember.
See, I feel like my research method, and it's like this is how I like write my papers right now too, like for school, because I'm doing my admin school too, so I can be a principal.
What?
Yeah,
Jeez.
Boss ass
Jeremy
bitch.
in charge. You'd be the coolest principal ever.
that's
so fun.
You know, it's my home. It's my home to run a school and have it be cool.
to
and
rule all the
to
children.
rule the coolest school.
Have a tiny army child.
Yes, basically, I just want to like form a coup. Use them. Sometimes I think about that though. Like when we were in person, we'd be sitting in the gym for like an assembly, and there's 35 to 50 staff members in the gym, and there's like 600 kids.
It's
Yeah.
kind of terrifying.
And I'm like, they could fucking just overtake us, new problem.
they cannot find that out.
Yes. Anyways, it's just like I think about that a lot. I'm like, oh, this is like a very I'm in charge and I'm in power in this situation, but like there's 30 of you and one of me, and like you could definitely, if there weren't these power dynamics,
I'd be fun.
just get me. Yeah. What I love about doing research is like I feel like I just like go through articles, I just take the information I want, and then I get to go back, write, and like reform things.
Yeah, that's
I love
how
that
did it.
aspect too. Yeah,
Like
just
changing
like,
it around,
Yep.
almost like your own puzzle piece.
exactly.
The
I
story.
love that. I
Totally.
love that. God, it's so fun to nerd out about that shit.
Hey, if it's a really good story, man. It's fun to dive deep.
Yeah. And thank you for listening, everyone.
Oh my gosh, thank you. So you can check us out on the internet. I'm gonna tell you where you can find us. We are on Instagram at Anxious and Afraid the Pod. We're also on Facebook at Anxious and Afraid the Pod. We're also on Twitter at AA the Pod. We are on Patreon, patreon.com/Anxious and Afraid. You can email us your suggestions or stories at anxiousandafraidthepod@gmail. And we also have a cute little website, anxiousandafraid.com. We also have some cute little merch, and you can find that link on our website or our Instagram bio. If you can't do Patreon or whatever, please rate and subscribe to our show because that's really helpful. And that's about it.
I guess we're gonna let our guests say it.
Say the thing.
Good up and good night.
Good night.
So professional.
Here are my sources. 5 murder mysteries that were almost too insane from crack.com, an article from the Vintage News, article from Mail Factors Register, Wikipedia, All That Is Interesting, Medium, Atlas Obscura, and the LA Times. Music by Broke for Free, edited by Michael.
Anxious and Afraid is partnered with the Oracle Network.